Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Out here with the Camaro, and I was just thinking, it's been 4 years and I've put just over 40,000 miles on this car, and I've never really done a review. So I wanted to come out here and do that this afternoon. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel, let me give you a rundown of the build. So this is a 2019 Chevy Camaro 1SS 1LE. We're lowered on Eibach Pro Kit springs. We got DBA front brake rotors, Hawk DTC 30 pads, Goodrich stainless braided brake lines, Doug Shelby Engineering titanium lug nuts. The wheels are powder coated black, satin black. We got the ZL1 1LE side skirts, matte black SS emblem in the upper grille, deleted the rear emblem. On the interior, the only thing I've changed was the shifter cap. This is a 6-speed manual car, so it went from red to carbon fiber look. Under the hood's a stock bottom end LT1. We had a build spec by Gwatney Performance. It's heads, cam, intake, throttle body, headers, exhaust, E85, so flex fuel sensor. It's got a catch can. If you want all the details on the engine build, I just did a short about that, listing all the parts that went into it. You can go back and check that out. So let's do some pros and cons as far as the review. The first one is the look of the car for me. This car looks tough. It looks very masculine, very aggressive. I love the front end. I love the back, the side profile. Very nice looking car to me. It really fits that aggressive look that I like. And when I was looking for these cars after I had decided I was going to get something else after I'd hurt the engine in my Trailblazer SS, I was looking for a 1LE car specifically. I like the trackability of it. I've never been to the racetrack, but the ability to have a car that you can drive off the showroom floor and go to the racetrack and do your 30-minute sessions and then drive home without overheating anything was a huge appeal to me, especially for the price of these cars these days. And when I paid too much because I got the car during COVID pricing when used cars were through the roof. But for less than $40,000 these days, you can get a 1LE Camaro and you could drive it from wherever you bought it from to a racetrack, run it, and then drive yourself home and be good. The 1LE package is the wheels and tires, 11 inches wide in the back, 10 inches wide in the front. They had the Goodyear Eagle F1 Supercar 3. They worked with Goodyear to spec the tire for this in the ZL1. You get the big Brembo brakes in the front, so 6-piston brakes in the front, 14.6-inch rotors. You get a 4-piston rear, specific brake pads for the 1LE package from the factory. You got the splitter, the satin black hood, all the matte black accents, the spoiler, and the little rear diffuser panel were all part of the 1LE package. You also got the MagneRide suspension, which is adjustable and semi-active. So you had Tour, Sport, and Track, and I leave mine in Sport all the time, but there is a noticeable difference when you change settings. It does stiffen up and get softer. Car rides really well on the interstate, and you can tighten it up and really get firm if you were out really pushing on it hard in the corners. I like to leave mine in Sport all the time. I get a good compromise on the in-between. I left the MPP muffler on here, so it's a stock muffler, but it has the valve, so it's open. So if you go back and look at my videos and you hear this car running, the valve's always open. But that is also adjustable. You could put it in Tour, and it's always quiet, or you can put it in Sport where it kind of goes back and forth. And if you put it in Track like I have it, it's always open until you shift into 6th gear, and then it closes, and it is nice and quiet still. Can't even tell it's really modified then. So with the 1LE package, I think this is one of the best bang for your buck cars that you could buy as far as being track capable. You're spending not very much money to get a really fast car, and the aftermarket support for these is huge. You can get anything. I mean, basically 90% of the parts on the car have an aftermarket support network for it. I mean, engine, transmission, differential, axles, wheels, brakes, suspension, interior parts, carbon fiber stuff, whatever you want, you could probably get. So let's take a look at the interior. Another part of the 1LE package is the Recaro bucket seats. I really like the Alcantara or suede centers and the leather on the bolsters. Very, very comfortable. One of the cons to them is this is as far back as the seat leans. The seat backs do not lean back very far. I don't know if the normal SS seats lean further back. There is adjustability in the base to get yourself some angle where it's still very comfortable. Got leather on the door panel. It is plasticky, but it's better than GM's ever been. This is probably the best interior in any GM car I've ever been in. The new C8s are very nice, but other than that, this is probably the next best one as far as sports cars go, or a GT car. Nothing squeaks or creaks like the old stuff. I've got just over 64,000 miles on the car now. No interior squeaks or rattles anywhere. There's some updated or upgradable knee bolsters that are covered in Alcantara. Makes it a little nicer on the inside. The 2SS and ZL1 models have some extra options for accent lighting and be able to change colors. Part of the 1LE package is the Alcantara on the shifter knob and the boot, and the Alcantara steering wheel, which for me is a love-hate relationship. Alcantara, it looks great, it feels great in the hand, but it also gets dirty very easily, and it's a pain to clean, it's a pain to keep clean, and my hands sweat, and it's a constant thing of having to use special cleaners and brush it out. I like how everything is laid out in the car. They use the bezels around the gauge as the fan speed and the temperature. All the HVAC controls are actual physical buttons. Nice screen for the radio and navigation system. It's got a center console, but it is very small. Not really going to fit a whole lot in there. Got a pretty decent glove box. The back seat is basically unusable unless it's a very small child, or you want to torture your friends, or you just put stuff back there for road trips and whatnot. I like the use of analog gauges and a digital cluster. Steering wheel feels nice. Nice size. I like the flat bottom, makes it easier to get in and out of the car. I like the use of analog gauges and a digital cluster. Radio's nice. 2SS will give you better speakers. I don't listen to the radio all the time. I'm usually listening to the car. But it's got all the information you want in the center. Trip, fuel range, tire pressure, average fuel economy for the last 50 miles, a timer, engine hours. Then we can go over to the performance section. Lateral G. Got the forward and reverse and lateral, so this will do 0 to 60, 0 to 100, quarter mile, 0 to 100 to 0. Lap timer, oil temperature, oil pressure, battery voltage, trans temp, tire temp, and the slip on the E-diff, all right there. So this car has the mode button, so right now we're in sport. We've got tour, snow and ice, and track. If you're in sport or track, you can double tap the traction control button. If you're in track, it will give you these settings right here that you can select what mode you want to be in for your performance traction management system. Push it again, turn it off. If you go into sport, you can still utilize the competitive mode, but it doesn't give you those options. Those options are only in track. And you can also just turn the traction control all the way off. I would be careful doing that. These cars, even stock, are pretty potent. We live in a day and age where you can get a car with 800 horsepower, you know, right off the dealership, or you could when the Hellcat Red Eye was out. You still can. You go to the dealership and buy an 800 horsepower car. 450 horsepower is more than you think. It will get away from you. If you turn everything off, you better be ready to drive. Let's look in the trunk first. This is a Pro and a Con. The trunk is a decent size, but the entrance to the trunk is very awkwardly shaped and kind of small. I've had to turn around and go home because I was trying to buy something in a box that was kind of bulky, and it would physically fit in the trunk, but it would not fit through this hole. That's kind of a pain. We'll take a look under the hood and talk about some powertrain stuff. Like I said, this is a Gen 5 LT1. It's backed up by a Tremec TR6060 transmission, 6-speed, and it has GM's E-diff, limited slip E-diff with 373 gears. Now, I've modified the engine, but these engines are very reliable, produce a lot of torque, very fun to drive even in stock form. TR6060 transmission is very well known, very reliable, very tough, upgradable. You know, you can basically do anything you want to the powertrain of this car. The LT1 isn't really meant for boost. If you get a ZL1, you've got a forged bottom end. These, if you go boost and you really want to make some power, you need to do rod piston motor and get some forged parts in there. But NA, you can really push on these things and spend some RPM and make some big power. Very easy to work on. Everything's really serviceable. There's actually quite a bit of room in the engine bay. The headers make it a little difficult on spark plugs, but you know, you remove the coolant reservoir and there's more room there. You can get in here and work. Compared to something like a Mustang, the Coyote engine is just super wide, so there's not nearly as much room under the hood as far as in between the strut towers with those engines. But this is pretty easy to maintain. Oil filters on the bottom, easy to get to, nothing in the way of it. Oil fill cap right there. Everything is right there where you can access it. So some of the cons for the engine department is it holds 10 quarts of oil. You're going to spend a lot on maintenance for one of these kind of cars. You know, you're looking at $100+ to change the oil. The brakes are very expensive. These rotors were $850, but if you wanted the factory rotors again, they're over $1,300. You'll spend $400+, $300 to $400 on aftermarket pads like I've got, but if you go to the GM pads, it's probably $500. All the maintenance items on this car start adding up. Tires are $400+ a piece for this car. So you really start thinking about what you're getting and what you're getting into and factor that into your budget if you're looking for one of these cars. This is a very capable car, but it also, the faster your car is, the more it costs to maintain. That's the part that they don't tell you. They show you this is fun and fast and everything, but they don't show you all the maintenance that goes into it behind it to make sure it's safe. Other than that, this has been the best car that I've had. Don't regret the purchase at all. I would definitely do it again. Of course, I'm a car guy, so I'm always thinking of what's next and what's the next mod or what's the next car. But this is a great car that I plan to keep for a little while longer, and I really enjoy it. I'd like to do some track days in it and you know, take some trips up to the mountains and do all those kind of fun things. And if there's any other question y'all got, let me know in the comments. We'll see y'all later.